solutions to national issues. As a matter of fact, this competition, which we will soon hear from the finalists, had about over 800 entries, about 840 if I'm correct. And today we'll be hearing from the 3 finalists who have done much more than speak. They've been able to design solutions, possible solutions to national issues. And so coming up this evening, that is perhaps the most interesting thing that I'm looking forward to, hearing from the finalists. But I'm also looking forward to hearing from our keynote speaker, our special guest of honor, as well as our chairperson, and of course, the founder. Now, as we go ahead in today's event, I mentioned earlier on that this event is organized by the Future Pathways Development Initiative. It'll be nice.
Good evening. You're welcome to the network services of the NTA. And we're reaching you live from Shehu Musa Yar'Adua Center here in Abuja for the 2025 Policy Conference for Youth with the theme, Rethinking National Unity, Governance Reform for Strengthening Social Cohesion in Nigeria.
For Lion, can we give a round of applause as Solu comes to give us some context about this event? Can we make the applause louder? I hear that youth are in the building and we are energetic. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. So, quick confession, I was hoping that the introductions would have been out of the way so that I can just stand on existing protocols. So, yes, that's what I'll be doing. I'm standing on every existing protocol, recognizing our distinguished guests tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been months of planning this, and I would say it has been very, very, interesting, just really seeing the process of, birthing this vision. So I'll just go straight into what I have to present to us tonight. Just speaking about the policy challenge, what the policy challenge story is about, what the vision is about, what we have been able to do over this period of about 6 to 7 months, and what the steps are looking like moving forward. So what is the policy challenge? So this is essentially an initiative of the Future Pathways Development Initiative. It's more than a competition. This is a platform for development-focused dialogue. It's a space that was created for critical thinking and collaboration towards creating well-thought-out solutions for nation building. And we're taking a youth-sensitive approach. Many people would agree with me that one of humanity's greatest assets is our mind. We can point to numerous evidences of what the mind has been able to conceive and manifest and produce. So by applying the same principle to nation building, it would only mean that nothing is impossible to us. It only means that the only thing between where we are now and where we desire to be as a nation is our will. And this is what we have attempted to exemplify through the policy challenge. So with Nigeria's social cohesion index at 39.6%, well, thank you, apologies. As of 2022, our theme this year was on strengthening social cohesion in Nigeria. This is essentially referring to the cord that weaves us together as a nation, and we're looking to call for solutions, policy submissions that would promote unity as a nation. So what did we do? We called on young people across universities nationwide to bring forward their best policy solutions. They conducted research, submitted their submissions, and put their best into presenting their case. But it was beyond this. This was about shaping mindsets through a process of active participation. The result was over 820 students across Nigeria from about 25 institutions actually submitted policy proposals. This is impressive because, beyond just the the narrative that young people are not, interested in governance, in nation building. We were able to prove this, wrong through this initiative. Throughout the process, there were screening processes. We had our top finalists, which were trained and mentored to refine their solutions. And today, we'll be hearing from these finalists who would also be, rewarded for their hard work. But beyond the numbers, which are equally important, a major impact we're proud of is the mindset shift that is taking place internally in the minds of every single participant, not just the finalists that we have here today, but every single person who was involved in this challenge. The seeds of possibilities that we have planted, and we hope, it will grow, and the call to all of us to be actively involved in nation building, in policy thinking in Nigeria. So this is to every participant who are, who have invested who invested their time, their thinking, collaborated to submit a proposal. We are saying thank you for the courage to think critically and propose your solutions, your bold ideas. To our finalists, we're saying congratulations for getting to this stage. You are setting a new benchmark for yourselves, but then for every young Nigerian, and we are proud that you have come this far, and we are even hopeful for the future, what the future holds. To everyone present here today, we'd like to say thank you. Thank you for being here. For everyone joining us virtually, we want to say thank you as well. This is a reminder that we are not just accessories or victims of Nigeria's narrative, but we are actually accomplices in Nigeria's failure or success. The vision is not stopping here. We are moving beyond 2025. We are moving beyond Nigeria, and we're looking to expand this across Africa. We're committed to building on this impact that we have made. This is just the beginning, and we are building a movement for young policy thinkers across Africa who will shape a sustainable and desirable future for the continent. Young people are ready to learn. We have been able to prove that. We are ready to leverage, and we are ready to lead. Happy International Youth Day, and thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a wonderful evening tonight.
Mr. Fola, and I hope Bayero University was among those. If not, I will not go home. I refuse to leave until I see BUK people are here. Thank you very much, and we look forward to this very, very important policy intervention by youth. Just a short introduction to someone who is going to do a very good effort at this meeting. Ayokunu Ojeniyi is a managing director of Reverso Business Services Limited, and he is the convener with his own colleagues at this place. And he is a founder of this Future Pathways Development Initiative, limited by guarantee, which is a non-profit. And he has done a lot of work, especially with the Honorable Minister here. And he has done so much in the field of bringing business to Nigeria and making business a very easy thing to do in this country. He has been groomed and modeled by the minister herself, and that now he's a very, very advanced intellectual following in her footsteps. She has been his mentor, and she has been very, very instrumental in what we are going to do tonight. And we hope that Ayo, for the short form, he's has been program manager of the delivery of technical assistance to the 36 states of the Federation. He has done so much for Lagos and Kano. I am surprised that he didn't come to visit me in the university. He has done so much for Kano. I have just learned, and I am very happy. Anything you do for Lagos, madam, please come to Kano also. We are the counterparts in development, and we hope that, inshallah, it will be a very, very good event tonight. Because the minister has to leave very early, we will ask Ayo to introduce her and tell us about what he had to hear.
Wow, thank you very much. Shiva, please be seated. Thanks. The MCs, I had to overrule them. They wanted to bring the Honorable Minister up themselves, but I cannot sit and not say a few words too. I mean, the bottom line is that today would not have been possible if not that I met Dr. J. I'm almost teary because it was June 24, 2017. It was just like any other day. I participated in the competition, and as she opened what was to be a Pebble hackathon. So I just walked up to her and I said, please, ma, I'd like to do an unpaid internship with you. And she said, okay. She handed me a card. And it so turned out that after the 2-day competition, I won the competition. And she was like, are you sure you just want to do internship? Come. And that's how I left what many may consider a dream job to pursue my passion and my interest. And Dr. J gave me a ladder. One of my dear mentors, please, yes. One of my dear mentors says, when you climb up and use a ladder, says, wherever you get, don't forget the ladder that brought you up. Some would say, a river that forgets its source will dry up. So I'm really, really excited. Earlier today, and my final sentence, I hope. Earlier today, I put something on my Instagram and I said, this conference, it's been a 19-year dream. I was an undergraduate in school when it occurred to me that I would like to someday do a youth conference. It's taken this long. I'm no longer a youth, but I'm glad that I can provide a platform for the youth to express themselves. And with that said, I'd like you to please, with a standing ovation, invite Dr. Jumoke Odowale, MFR, Honorable Minister of Industry, Trade, and Investment. Like we used to do. Yes. Thank you. Yes.
Please sit. Thank you all very much. Good afternoon. I will stand on the well-adumbrated protocols, both with wisdom and energy. This is a short goodwill remark, and the person to introduce me was also introduced, so there's been a lot of introductions. But it would be remiss of me not to acknowledge Nigerian youth, really the most important people in the room and in the audience today. And why I say this is we take one day to recognize our youth. Well, that is the powerhouse, the engine, the fuel of the Nigerian economy, of the Nigerian society. It is what makes us who we are. Over 200 million people, 70% of which are youth. Our country is known for the energy, for the ginger that comes from that particular demographic. And we don't take enough time, maybe because I'm an academic, I'm actually a teacher. That is how I introduce myself. And so at my core, and my father before me, I grew up on campus with Dr. Iwole. So academia and being with young people, whether then as a teacher or at church with youth fellowship, I tell people it keeps me evergreen. So it's my pleasure and honor to be here with you today. I must say something about Ayokunu. I call him Joyful. That's actually the meaning of his name. Yes, Joyful. I met him, as he described, at a hackathon that we put together to look out for innovative solutions to challenges in governance, GovTech. And he left a very lucrative job to intern unpaid, although he was already quite senior. He was like faking like he was a university student interning. He was already quite senior in his technology career. And Ayokunu came into the PEBEC team and was kind of like a sponge. He was just absorbing and absorbing. He came in as the person responsible for tech and looking at reforms from a technology lens, automation, and just transformation. But he absorbed so much, and I don't even think his colleagues realized, but I realized because we used to talk a lot. Even in the middle of the night, he would like message, I'm awake, because I send messages a lot to my team in the middle of the night. And then one person would respond, and it would be him. So one day I just said, Ayokunu will handle this presentation. And I think the whole team was shocked when he started talking about technical details that just a few months earlier were completely new to him. And I say that for the power of the Nigerian youth, your capability to absorb, your capability to deliver, your capability to inspire, your capability to thrive in whatever environment you find yourself. So I just celebrate him today for this initiative. I watched his podcast and his Instagram posts for many, many years. He has served. He has paid his dues. He has served me personally with diligence. And I should say this to youth. He has served with diligence. He has served with humility. He has served with selflessness. And that is the reason why I could move mountains to be here for him today. So I'd like to celebrate you and honor you. Thank you for all you do for Nigeria. And thank you for convening Nigerian youth today, a dream come true. Have a wonderful time. Have a wonderful birthday. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister for Industry, Trade and Investment, Dr. Jumoke Oduwole. Please, can we give another round of applause? She's also the founder of No Limits Nigeria Initiative. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much for stopping by despite your very hectic career and very hectic schedule. We thank you so much. Thank you, Honorable Minister. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this is just a tip of the iceberg. And like I tell people, it's time to fasten your seatbelt because we are ready to fly. Can you tell the person beside you, fasten your seatbelt? We've only just started. Fasten your seatbelt. And let me quickly say that today is World Youth Day, and I hear that there are youth in the hall, but I don't feel the energy as much. My constituency, what's happening? What's happening? They're warming up.
No, they are going to wisdom.
Oh. I need you to be as energetic because in a while we're going to bring up some of the contestants or the finalists, as I like to put it, the 3 finalists. And I'll ask you to be very generous. So let me ask you, or rather invite you, to be very generous with your applause as we bring up the speakers. Do we agree to be generous with our applause? Do we agree to participate very actively? I know that we are not shy. We are energetic, right? All right, on that note, ladies and gentlemen, to give us some insight into the Future Pathways Development Initiative, please welcome the Executive Director, Mr. Ariola Ado Daniel. Can we give him a round of applause? Aha, that's the energy. All right, as we await him, I was just curious I mean, it's a room full of, or it's a room that has a lot of young people in it. So just as we await Mr. Ariola, I was just curious. You know, the theme for this conference and the theme for the competition is rethinking national unity. So I'm curious, how many people in this hall have visited at least 5 states? Okay, let me move it up to 6. At least 6 states in Nigeria. Can you raise your hand? At least 6 states. Okay. Now, second question. How many people have visited at least 1 state in each geopolitical region? The hands are fewer. So I guess we have a take-home from this. Let's just visit. I mean, we want to visit so many places. Let's add that to our to-do list and get a sense of what Nigeria really is. Get a sense of who is our brother from the other region. Ladies and gentlemen, as I was speaking, the person I invited walked back in. So please welcome to the stage, Mr. Ariola Ado Daniel. Can we make the applause louder?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Ariola Ado Daniel, and I am the Executive Director at Future Pathways Development Initiative. Thank you so much for being around today. All protocols duly observed. The Honorable Minister, who just took a leave, the Ambassador Dapo Oyewale, Secretary SSA to the President on International Cooperation, and the Secretary General for COSPAL, and every single invited guest here today. Good evening. Very quickly, I'm going to be taking us through what we do at FPDI. But like I do say at FPDI, we often say this: policy defines power, and leadership shapes how that power is used. We began in the year 2022, and it was not just an organization, but it's a Pan-African mission to inspire and strengthen citizens' action and engagement in Africa. Our vision is simple. We want to strengthen governance through our work on developing and implementing effective citizen-driven policies. And our ultimate goal is to catalyze a generation of African youth leaders who can influence, design, implement, and implement inclusive, forward-thinking public policy. Because in a time where many youths feel disconnected from government, today shows that that bridge is possible. Because in a country where young people are often told to wait their turn, today proved that the turn is already here. We are here today because when youth meets policy and policy meets opportunity, change is bound to happen. One of our flagship initiatives is the Policy Challenge that my colleague had took us through earlier. And what we do at the Policy Challenge is to celebrate undergraduates across federal, state, and tertiary institutions across the country to engage in policy, and then we bring them into a competition, and today's the grand finale. We also were able to record over 800 interest in this year's competition. We received 160 fully formed policies, and today we have our top 3 finalists who are going to be battling for the prize for today. Another initiative that we have at the Future Pathways Development Initiative is called the Policy Hub, where we intend to establish hubs across federal, state, and polytechnics, across institutions across Nigeria. And the goal is simple. We want member students to be able to collaborate on localized policy development, where we can run capacity training sessions in partnership with institutions across for their student representative council and their union executive. Another one of our initiatives is called the African Youth Policy Fellowship. And this is a paid year-long fellowship program for postgraduate students, non-students, where participants are embedded into government institutions and MDAs to empower them. And while filling this capacity in government, they get to work on policy-making roles. The program is fully funded, and we intend to use that funds to support and strengthen their learning outcome. Another thing that we do at Future Pathways Development Initiative is also a football competition where we intend to empower young people from low-income families and ensure that they're able to further their career and their education. Lastly, There are so many projects that we do have at the Future Pathways Development Initiative in partnership with various organizations like the Legislative Mentorship Institute and our friends at Leap Africa and very many other civil societies who are also duly and well represented here today. And we want to assure everybody who are a part of us that they are going to get first-hand information as soon as any of these initiatives roll out. I'm not going to end tonight without celebrating the founder, Ayokunomi Ojeneyin, whose vision has made today a reality. Your persistence has kept this burning, and today we have seen the light that it has brought. Thank you so much. I would also like to say to our participant and every young person following who are here or following online, that remember this, governance is not a distant room in Abuja. It is the decisions that we shape. It is the decisions we shape every day in our communities, on our campuses, and in our nation. So seek out opportunities like this and many others, and you're going to learn, engage, and also get to lead. Because if you're not at the table, you are probably on the menu. On behalf of FPDI, I'd like to thank you all for making today a success. May the partnership we formed today grow into a project that transforms our life. Thank you, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Another interesting thing about the 2025 Policy Challenge is that it seeks bold, innovative, and practical policy reforms that strengthens social cohesion and fosters a more unified Nigeria.
Later stage. This is a country where for a long time we have seen, even in political parties, youth leader is a 50-year-old man. Commissioner for Women Affairs is a man. This is what happens in this country. But if the youth will take the initiative and propose this far-reaching policy statement, that would be a very, very good thing. I will call Temi to introduce the next item.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bala Muhammad. Ladies and gentlemen, we're now moving on to the highly anticipated competition. Are you ready? Okay, I feel that some young people are in that corner of the room, but I'm not sure about here. Let's do a quick check. Are you ready? Amazing. Now the energy is getting high. So we're going to have the competition. As I mentioned earlier on, this competition has gone through different stages. And the people who are here have gone through so much in terms of screening before they've got into this point. We had over 800 entries. And then it was further screened to about 160. And then it was further screened again. And then people had to, come and defend virtually their policy ideas. And then they're here today. 3 of them have emerged. 3 teams. So I'm going to invite them soon. Before they come up, a short clip will be played, and then we would hear about what they represent. But I want to ask you, and I said all that to set the context to being generous with celebrating them. Standing before a crowd such as this for such an important occasion is such a big deal. So please, let us celebrate them when they come up. Just to give us some context and to remind us, their presentation is on the theme, Rethinking National Unity, Governance Reforms for Strengthening Social Cohesion in Nigeria. And these teams are from different universities. So they are undergraduates who have thought so brilliantly about ideas, policy ideas that could be implemented. So, without further ado, it's time to get out of their way and bring them on stage. I'll start with the first team, and then we'll cue the video, and then they will come up to share their policy ideas. The first team, all the way from the University of Lagos, is Team Dog. Can we please celebrate and invite Team Dog?
For Team Douche, sometimes for hours into the night, because that was the only schedule we could make out from period, because we're in school period, right? So analyzing the topic, disagreeing on some, then finally reaching a consensus of what three policy ideas to bring to the table. It has been very exciting, insightful. It's been a journey of discovery for many of us. I mean, for a number of the people on the team, this is the first, right? So it's been a very good experience, I must say. Okay. Studying an existing protocol, chronic disunity related to public distrust in government, as evidenced by social agitation and political apathy. This is our diagnosis of the state of national unity in Nigeria. And so we propose three bold policy ideas. First is the creation of a national civic oversight body, the NCOB, that will be made up of publicly selected individuals, men, women, the youth, the academia, and civil society organizations. And they will track national inclusion metrics, track equity, and also publish annual scorecards. So we already have existing institutions like the NYC, the NOA, but this time around, they will review these organizations and publish scorecards in mediums that are easily understandable by the layman. And so people will see progress and see inclusion in the process. Next, we propose a reform of the state of civic education across basic education level. At the moment, civic education is taught as a subject for people to pass just because it's required. Anybody can teach civic education. But the purpose for which it was created was so we can ingrain in young minds a sense of national consciousness. And so we propose a reform of the current curriculum to include our history as case studies, to show patriotism, to show activism, and to show young minds what it indeed means to be Nigerians. And also, we also propose that the UN and BBC outreach models to underserved communities be adopted as well, because we recognize that sadly 1 in 4 children are out of school. And also, we also propose that national monuments be created across the 6 geopolitical zones, so young minds as well can see their history, they can see what the whole journey that it took to becoming the Nigeria we have today. Finally, our third policy option is a national e-citizenship referendum platform. Picture this, every Nigerian with a digital vote, a digital voice. To mirror what we have in the red and green chamber, to say yes on things they agree on for their shared prosperity, or to disagree when they think that the ethical review of leadership does not match what we want to see today in government. These are the policy ideas we propose, and my colleague will tell us why we chose what we chose.
Thank you. Now, why do we recommend the NCOB? First of all, the NCOB was not taken out of thin air. We studied proven precedents from countries like Taiwan, the Philippines, and South Korea. And we noticed one thing. When you give people decision-making power, they own it and they make it work. Also, the NCOB is going to follow the diffuse cost concentrated model, which requires funding from presidential allocations, as well as grants from SDG-aligned international organizations, particularly those concerned with SDG 16, which is social justice, peace, and stronger institutions. Also, we plan to prevent the NCOB from politicization by designing its operations through the creation of new policies or the amendment of existing policies. Finally, I would like to say this. We have long sacrificed our peace, our progress, our prosperity on the altar of disunity. Our model, the NCOB, is how we plan to fix this problem. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please, can we make the applause louder? Just before you go, I'm curious. I saw the name of your team is Team Dog, and I was wondering, what does Team Dog mean? What does it stand for? You want to come and tell us? Anybody else that's curious? Okay. So what does Team Dog stand for?
Okay, so it's the initial of the four initial people that came on the team, right? So there's Dolapo, there's Dolapo and Oluwatoni, then Ugochinyere and Goodness. So DOUG.
I like that. I mean, that's what Gen Zs will do. Because they just say Dolapo, Oluwatonyere, and what do we have? Team Dog. Please, another round of applause for Team Dog. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. All right, I'd now like to invite the next team. And I'll ask you, ladies and gentlemen, we've got to be impartial with our energy. Just as you've celebrated Team Dog that came all the way from the University of Lagos, please welcome all the way from Adeleke University, Team 1. Please keep celebrating Team 1. The video, please.
We are Team 1. So this program is outside our domain, and we had to step out from what we do normally as computer science students. So coming up with this policy, we had to do a lot of research. We spent time carrying out surveys, meeting with people who are experienced, and we presented our policy to them, and we listened to their opinions. Then we worked on the opinions they gave us to actually work on the policy that we are presenting at this program.
Standing on existing protocols, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'm here today. My name is Oluwadimimu David, and with me is my teammate. We are presenting to you Harmony in Diversity Initiative. So, Harmony in Diversity Initiative is a grassroots youth-led policy reform that leverages on technology to transform unity. And today, unity is a topic that many people have seen and talked about and thought of how do we achieve unity in this country. And that's why we have proposed the Harmony in Diversity Initiative. Over time, studies have shown that language is a powerful tool for transforming people and how they see others. Language helps to build empathy. And therefore, when people understand each other, because understanding is key in understanding each other, it means you're speaking the same language. So for people to understand each other, they have to be speaking the same language, like I said. So a genuine connection is being built in that process when people understand each other. Now, the HDI includes a language exchange module. The previous slide, please. The HDI includes a language exchange module and community projects with cross-ethnic teams to make understanding a daily experience. Let's go on. Let's go on, please. Yeah, next one. All right. So, but understanding is not enough. When people, especially the youth, feel that their voices and opinion matters, it creates a shift from apathy to openness. This is why the HDI includes a civic education and youth participation in policy making, ensuring that we are not making the youth just informed, but also involved. And we know how to keep them engaged. We are building a Unity app that is going to be gamified in the sense that their participation is going to be rewarded. We decided to go local. We conducted a survey, and you will see some of the results on the screen. And most of our participants that we interviewed showed interest in a gamified system that rewards them for their efforts in building national unity. With the HDI, everyone is involved, not just the smartphone generation, not just the techies, not just the educated elites. We can go on to the next slide, please. But also with local language radio programs, TV slots, caller tunes, unity circles, and story cards, we are able to reach everyone, making it an inclusive policy proposal. Our implementation strategy is to start small. We're piloting in 6 major states, in the 6 geopolitical zones in major states, and also we're going to be using NYC camps, schools, and existing community centers for hubs where the youth can participate. Also, HDI will partner with the National Orientation Agency for awareness and outreach, the UNDP and other private CSR for sponsorships and funding. We'll measure our success through her participation and engagement, language uptake, and an annual social cohesion survey. We're not saying unity building is easy, but the goal of HDI is to strengthen unity by the inclusion of youth in policy making, helping many Nigerians to learn other Nigerian languages, and creating a space for collaboration. Unity is not easy, like I said, but possible through shared experience and a renewed hope agenda that turns policy into practice, building sustainable unity for generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Team 1, all the way from Adeleke University. I think that the name already communicates what they're saying. One, unity, coming together. Thank you so much, Team 1. Now to the final team for today. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together all the way from the University of Lagos again. Team Trailblazer. The video, please.
We are Trailblazers.
Nigeria's Social Cohesion Index currently stands at 38.6%, reflecting deep-rooted ethnic, regional, and governance challenges, which this 2025 policy challenge aims to provide solutions to these pressing issues such as education, unity, inclusion, and their likes.
Worked for us. We're still able to come up with something a night or two before the main presentation. So in all, it has been a wonderful experience, and I would say that any other person that is interested should just try out. You never know where you can be tomorrow.
Good evening, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I am Chugo Balanedu, and together with me is Ifeoluwa, Moturayo, and Rofiat. We are Team Trailblazers from the University of Lagos. Now, the big question, is Nigeria truly united? Late Chief Obafemi Awolowo once described Nigeria as a mere geographical expression. And in reiterating this position, Kehinde Mowo noted that Nigeria's formation was by the mechanical drawing of borders. This statement clearly suggests that Nigeria is not a united nation. And this has further been proven by the declining social cohesion index, as reported by the API in 2022. An existing policy to address the issues of disunity in Nigeria is the federal character principle, which aims to ensure that national unity, national loyalty, and the sense of belonging is promoted among Nigerians. Additionally, the Federal Character Commission has been established to ensure that this principle is enforced. Yet, issues such as lack of sufficient funding and lack of independence for the Federal Character Commission, as well as the failure of the existing quota system to balance equity and meritocracy affects the implementation of this principle. Thus, we strongly propose three policy solutions. First, quota system reforms. Secondly, autonomy for the Federal Character Commission. And finally, increased budgetary allocation for the Federal Character Commission. With regard to, please, the previous slide. With regard to our first proposal, we believe that by specifying minimum conventional qualifications for quota accommodations, a balance will be struck between equity and meritocracy. Also, instead of a unified quota system for all the states of the Federation, a flexible quota system which will reflect the ethnic diversities of each state in the Federation should be adopted. With regard to our second proposal,
the Federal Character Commission should be granted full autonomy in its affairs, as we believe that this will bring about greater effectiveness and efficiency of the Commission. Finally, our third proposal, increased budgetary allocation to the Federal Character Commission. And we believe that the National Assembly could consider increasing the budgetary allocation from the current 0.0067% to at least 0.1%, looking at the great role this commission will play in making sure that this country is more united than ever. If these proposals are implemented, please the next slide. If these proposals are implemented, we believe that on a short-term basis, it will bring about increased visibility for marginalized ethnic groups, and on a long-term basis, promote inclusivity and fair representation of many ethnic groups in federal appointments and employment. In conclusion, we say the words of Bello Muhammad El-Rufai: whatever you do in Nigeria, there will always be a cry of marginalization. Yet, global concepts and history have shown that unity is not an impossibility. It demands intentionality in governance and policy innovation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. May we know you again, please? The name?
I am Chugo Okbalanidu.
Rafiatu Inkpemi. Dosumu Ife Oluwa. Mutsarai Oluwa Libanjo.
Thank you very much. Another round of applause for them, please. How coincidental. Yesterday, my 400 level students, whom I teach public mobilization and persuasion, presented a semester group assignment on exactly these two topics about Nigeria's diversity and unity. Wallahi, yesterday. And I didn't know that I would come here. And, you know, northern universities, we are more diverse, actually, because we have, for instance, Bayero University, Kano, in my class, I have students from 31 states of the country. And they called that meeting, they called it cultural, many cultures, one BUK. BUK means Bayero University, Kano. How communication can help in uniting Nigerians. And they invited all cultures on the campus to come to the Department of Mass Communication to discuss how they can use communication and social media to reach out to youth so that we can have a better country. These young people, they are thinking ahead of us. For unity in this country, we need a serious youth intervention. Thank you very much, everybody. Before our panel discussion, we have a very important guest with us here, a very important person who is going to speak to us, Dr. Dapo Oyewole. Please come forward, sir. For you to know, he is a senior special assistant to His Excellency the President on international cooperation. That is no mean feat. That is a very important office he's holding. Please, a round of applause for him. He is also Secretary General of the Conference Speakers and Presidents of African Legislatures. In his role as that Secretary General, he reaches out on behalf of Nigeria to African legislatures so that they can think together, think alike. Things like the African Free Trade and the NEPAD and other things are all things which we aim to unite Africa with. He is saddled with that responsibility to bring Africa to Nigeria and to take Nigeria to Africa and the world. Dr. Oyewole, we would like to hear from you. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you very much indeed, and really honored. Good evening, everybody. To say it is an honor and delight to be here would be an understatement for a range of reasons. In their absence, let me first acknowledge His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Kebbi State, Dr. Nasir Idris, my sister and childhood friend, the Honorable Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Dr. Jumoke Oduwole, my fellow judge, the economic advisor to the governor of Katsina State, Mr. Khalil Noor Khalil, and my other fellow judges, many who are here today from what I understand. Ms. Omomi Ogunrotimi. Ms. Ogunrotimi, where are you? Yes, right there. She was one of the judges. Please, a round of applause for her. And Miss Elizabeth Abubakar. Is Miss Elizabeth Abubakar here? She's not here. I had to acknowledge them because behind the scenes, we all worked tirelessly together to listen to many of this presentation over several hours, giving up weekends and engaging. But I have to tell you, it was a very, very rewarding experience indeed. As has been mentioned, my name is Dapo Iwole. I wear many hats, some that have been mentioned. But for anyone who knows me, there are two things that are very much at the very core of my soul. One is the issue of policy, and the second is the issue of youth. And I, in that regard, also serve as the chairman of the Planning and Advisory Committee and inaugural director of the Legislative Mentorship Initiative, an initiative founded by the current Chief of Staff to Mr. President, Right Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila, when he was the Speaker, in order to develop young people's capacity for policy making and effective leadership in government. And that is why today it is really exciting for me to be here. And of course, when my dear brother Ayokunu reached out to me to be a chief judge for this particular contest, I had a lot on my table, as you can imagine, but it was a scenario in which I could definitely not say no. I could not say no because really policy is at the very heart of our country and the future of our nation. I think you've all heard quite a number of speeches and presentations, so I'm not going to give you the traditional speech. I'm going to tell you a few stories about my journey, about my experience as well. On 14th June 1999, I actually had the privilege of standing in the grounds of the Union buildings in Pretoria, South Africa, as a political science student. And I had the opportunity to watch Nelson Mandela hand over the baton of leadership to his successor, President Thabo Mbeki. And anyone standing there that day would have thought that was just something that happened at the moment. But the people who read the history will know that these people who are now gray-haired old men, they started their journey much earlier on as young people, like the same young people sitting in this room today. For the students of political history, you would also know that many of our countries would not have won the battle against colonization if not for the strength, the vitality, the energy, and the work that young people, teenagers, people in their 20s and in their 30s, the work they put in to ensure that the shackles of colonization fell and we could become the sovereign nation that we are today. And again, it is young people that actually ended up leading post-independent Nigeria, and the same across Africa. There's an assumption that young people today are completely embedded in social media, self-projection, TikTok, doing challenges and dances, and that young people have no interest in governance or even in policy. But I'd like to ask you all, from what you have heard, from what you have seen, the depths of the presentations that we've seen today, can anyone here say that Nigeria's young people are not interested in policy, or that they do not have the interests of our nation at heart? If it's no, let me hear it loudly, please. Exactly. So it's really, really encouraging to see that the same way young people in the past were able to fight against apartheid, fight against colonization, that today, as we're fighting for our own economic sovereignty as African nations, our young people are still interested, they're still engaged, and they're still very much involved. And a round of applause to all of you who have presented and presented so beautifully. As the Chief Judge, along with my other panelists, we had the honor and the privilege of listening to these bright, wonderful young people. We were excited, we were impressed, and we were inspired by the clarity of their ideas, the brightness of their vision, the strength of their purpose, the diligence they put into their work, and the rigor they brought to the process. And I can tell you and I'm sure I speak on behalf of many of my other fellow judges, by the time we had finished judging, we were left with nothing but a sense of optimism and excitement about the future of our dear country, Nigeria. But this would not have happened if another set of leaders did not come together to create this fantastic organization and created this policy challenge. And in that regard, I'd like you to please join me in a round of applause for Mr. Ayokunu and the entire team that worked on bringing this together. This cost a lot of money, a lot of time, and a lot of resources. And I'm sure they could have spent that money relaxing somewhere in Greece or in some nice fancy vacation. But instead, they decided to pour it back into creating opportunities for young people, not just to display their talent, but also to get the visibility that is required. And I'm very delighted that you were able to honor Professor Dr. Oduwole earlier on today. There's some people to get to where they get to, but they forget to honor those who got them to where they are. And that itself is leadership. Honoring those, the shoulders of the giants on which you stood, but also opening doors for others like these young, bright people to join us today. In 2009, I don't know if it was an honor, but I had the privilege, definitely, of returning to Nigeria from the United Kingdom, where I studied and where I lived. And I came to take on a position as the head of policy and strategy of the United Kingdom's Technical Assistance Program here in Nigeria. Hitherto in the UK, I'd run the Center for Policy and Strategy. And what was really interesting is that my job was leading teams of embedded advisors, both Nigerians and international, that were providing technical assistance to governments across the country, both federal and at the state level, particularly in the areas of policy formulation, planning, and implementation. I was in my mid-30s. I'd never worked in Nigeria before. And in fact, I'd never even traveled across Nigeria. But it was one of the most exciting experiences of my life, and one that cemented the roles in which I played in government. We had embedded teams working with governments in Kano, in Kaduna, in Jigawa, in Lagos, in Enugu, and in other areas. And what we did was sit down with civil servants and help them to design policy processes, particularly to create state development plans. But to do that, we did not want to be prescriptive. We wanted to work with the civil servants instead of just tell them what to do. So we designed something called a self-assessment tool, a tool that helped them to assess their own capacity and their own ability to make policy. What was very interesting is, first, the level of the passion and commitment of the civil servants. I think our civil servants are heroes that a lot of us don't appreciate as much as we do. A round of applause for them. But when we conducted the assessment and we asked them, how many of you have actually been trained in policy or in strategy? The number was abysmally low. So it is not surprising, ladies and gentlemen, that if we did not train our civil servants to engage in effective policy design and policy making, that we would have the kind of challenges that we were facing then. I often say, if we want a surgeon to perform heart surgery, we would just say, okay, go ahead and do it. You seem to be a nice, kind, pretty person. Or if we wanted an engineer to build a bridge, would we say, okay, go ahead and build the bridge? You seem quite smart. Or if you wanted a pilot to fly us across from Nigeria to the United Kingdom, whatever the case may be, would we say, oh, you look like you have good eyesight and you're from my state. Okay, go ahead, fly the plane. No, we would ensure they're certified and they're trained in exactly the task that they have been given. So, ladies and gentlemen, why is it that we are not as invested in training the capacity of the civil servants and the leaders who are responsible for making the policies that affect the lives of over 200 million people? And this is why what this team, the Future Pathways Project, is doing is so important. They are training our young people to design better policies for a better future for our nation. And we applaud you. If you want to clap for them, please clap for them. I do believe very strongly that if we are to have the Nigeria that we want, we need to first of all understand that we need to invest in training young people and actually making policy exciting. I hear that Big Brother has started again. I can imagine many people are seated and waiting and ready to watch Big Brother. I wonder how many people are watching and following the policy challenge. What you have done is that you have made policy more exciting, more interesting, and for that reason, we're able to see that indeed our young people are committed. But policy is also about intentionality. And one of the challenges we faced as a nation is having policies that are either politically expedient or knee-jerk reactions, as opposed to data-centered and driven by statistics. According to the OECD, the 2020 Public Governance Review, countries that institutionalize evidence-based policymaking are 20% more likely to achieve their stated development goals and deliver services more efficiently. When we look at a country like Singapore, one of the reasons why they've been able to develop so effectively, it's not because they're smarter than us, but it's because they invested in evidence-based policy making and they built the capacity of their civil servants and their policymakers to be able to implement those policies. So if we want a better future, ladies and gentlemen, for our country, for our continent, and indeed for the world, we need to invest in training and equipping young people to be better policymakers. And not only training them, but we also have to create spaces and the opportunities for them to lead. In the Legislative Mentorship Initiative, which I have had the opportunity to lead, we've trained over 176 young fellows. And to the glory of God, many of them are working across different government ministries, departments, and NDAs. Some of them I see are actually here in this room today. But if we train our young people and we don't provide an opportunity for them to have a seat at the table of policy making, then that very much is like buying jerseys, trainers, and training young people to play football, but there's no match for them to play and there's no field for them to play on. So while we're on one hand training them to do policy right, we have to do the other side, which is providing the opportunities for them to drive those policies, to implement those policies, and to shape them in a manner that transforms our nation. In conclusion, let me say a very big thank you on behalf of all our fellow judges who took a lot of time and effort to do the assessments and to do the judging of this very important contest. I have to tell you Yes, one or two groups may emerge as winners, but really, today, Nigeria is the winner. I'd also like to thank you, also young people. Many of you, I remember asking the same country a question about Team Dog. I asked them the same question, how did you come up with that? But I think apart from the fact that they were able to come here and present, there's also something we need to be able to notice. And that is really that when you look at their team compositions, they were very diverse in terms of religion, in terms of gender, apart from one group, which actually is also good, and also in terms of their ethnic backgrounds. And that really reflects that our country is able to bring young people together, putting aside all those issues to work together to create better policies for our country. Let me say the future of Africa indeed belongs to young people. It will be built by them, it will be led by them, it will be owned by them. But to do this, we need to groom policy architects who will design the future, and I am proud to say that we have them in this room. Thank you very much indeed, and all the very best.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Dakboyewole. Can we give him another round of applause, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you so much, sir. As he mentioned, we're going to have the results of the challenge soon, before the end of the event. But just as he said, whether your team wins or not, it is important to know that you're all winners and that Nigeria is a winner. And I don't say this as just some cliche word. You know, at the end of competitions, people say everybody's the winner. But the truth is that to come up on this platform, which is aired nationally, and to have such an opportunity is in itself a big win. So once again, can we celebrate all the teams that have entered into the competition? Well done, well done, well done. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to move on to the panel discussion. But before the panel discussion, it's time to have just a little opportunity to sit back, reflect. You know, there's something I love. When somebody is having a performance and suddenly you are going, word. It's that time. Please welcome to the stage a spoken word poet, Madam Loveth Liberty. Can we give her a round of applause?
Good evening, everyone. I'll just wait for you guys. I'll say good evening again. Good evening, everyone. Good. So my name is Loveth Liberty, but you can call me Miss L. A lot of times when I come to events like this, they're like usually like older persons, but it's so good to see my age mates here. Like that engagement. So okay, I was actually saying that I love that I have a lot of Gen Zs here, and I feel very much at home. I have a short poem, and I hope there is something you like, because I enjoyed myself creating this, and I hope you enjoy yourself. So, DJ. Because my generation is not waiting to be handed a pen, we are writing our own story. Because my generation is not waiting for permission, we are carving our own glory. Have you not noticed? My countrymen be blessed, see my homies be growing, be showing up, be putting God first, because Naija no they carry last. Because we get the best of mind, because we possess the zest and the chest for the grind like blender. Because with us it is no retreat, no surrender, till we're winning. till we're chilling on the billboards, check the stars. My mother's star is always birthing stars, birthing legends and divas, big dreamers and hyper achievers. Ask Hilda, Bassi was cooking and she'll tell you either Guinness World Record. Ask FIFA was on that stage and they'll tell you that it's Thames in all of her essence, because my generation is not waiting to be given a pen. We are writing our own story, because my countrymen is not seeking for permission. We are carving our own glory. Do you not know this? That we owe this world our gifts, our presence, our essence. We are African giants, standing twice as tall, head in the cloud, fly as the falcons, bowling like champions, not just in WAFCON, but at every corner of the world. We are making the right moves like Tunde Onakoya on the chessboard. Checkmate, checkmate. We are descendants of Wole Soyinkans and Chinwe Achebes. We are kinsmen of Chimamanda, showing everyone that every dream counts deep down. We are descendants of Fela Kuti. So when we make art and when we make music, it's not just rhythm and vibes, it's revolution. Welcome to our evolution. Here the resolution is that we have 36 states and capitals, but we have to capitalize in one state of mind, because united we stand Gidiba. Divided we fall Yakata. You know this one now. The assignment is to bury whatever hatchets is in our chest and pick up the shovel and dig for the gold within ourselves. Together, we are breaking old patterns. We are building a whole new world on the foundation of policies and reforms. It is time. We're here for rework. All hands on deck. Ogbeni, leave talk. Get busy, get things done. The world needs us. The world needs you. The world needs me. Together, the future is in the good hands.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. That was a very nice break and something to take away. Thank you very much, ma'am. Now to a panel discussion. In the program is only for 20 minutes. I hope that all three will get to answer a few questions from the moderator. I will call on the panelists, and when I call the name, they could please come up here, and then I will read a little citation of them. Dr. Jamila Mohammed Dahiru. She is a lecturer at the University of Abuja, Department of Development and Strategic Communication, former Commissioner of Education in Bauchi State, and she holds a PhD in mass communication, actually from me, and another PhD in educational leadership. And she has been to the Imperial College in London, apart from Bayero University and other places. She is the founder of We Care Center for Community Awareness and Empowerment Initiative and avidreaders.com and AI Sisters. These are educational initiatives and platforms that provide support and empower underserved communities. She is a passionate advocate for social cohesion. That is, these three groups, they talked about social cohesion. She is there, participatory governance and transformative leadership. Please welcome Jamila. Please take the second seat, please. Thank you very much. Next, to introduce, please welcome Johannes Oluwatobi Ujuola. Is he here? Yes, please. He is a passionate communicator, lawyer. What are you doing in communication and law? Together. You know, the lawyers are trying to take our job. They are all over. He is, at the present time, special advisor on communication and media to the Executive Vice Chairman, CEO of the Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC. If you have a problem with MTN, he's here to help you. He's driven by deep commitment to nation building and equity. He's a proud Nigerian and a believer in the power of young people to transform societies. He has been head of digital media at a presidential campaign a few years ago, and he has been a special assistant media also to the former chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue. He is a publisher, and he worked on the media team of former President Muhammadu Buhari, and he was at one time on the board of the Presidential Visitation Panel at Federal University, Otuoke. and the Working Group for the Medium-Term National Development Plan 2021 to 2025 and the National Agenda 2050. Please welcome Johannes. Please. Thank you very much. Another panelist, perhaps the youngest of them all, he just finished NYC yesterday. Well, almost yesterday. Khalil Nur Al-Kali was born only in 1992. By that time, I had spent already 1 year teaching in the university. So he was born there. He is from Kaduna State, and he did all his earlier studies there. And then he went to Scotland and did the course, the degree there. And then he went to Cyprus, where he did a Bachelor's of Science degree in economics. And he finished 3.98 on a 4.0 scale. That's first class. He graduated in 2017. Anybody 2017 here? Let me see hands. You are well represented. Anybody 2017 and later? He did NYC with the Kaduna State Investment Promotion Agency, and he rose in that agency to become its head. This young man, during his corps days, his youth corps days, he was youngest member and secretary of the local organizing committee for the Kaduna Economic and Investment Summit, Kadinvest 3. If you remember, Nasir El-Rufai used to say a lot about this young man who did a lot of work for this organization, Kadipa. This young man with a lot of things to say, has been a technical assistant before he was promoted to manager, and then at the end he became what we are here for, how the youth can transform this country and this society. From the acting head of investor relations, where he restructured the IR department, he became the leader of that organization in Kaduna. Today, he is in Katsina as a special advisor to the governor of Kaduna State in investment also, and so many other things. He is also on the old Association of Investment and Promotion Agencies. 3 pages long for a very young person. Please welcome Khalil Nur Al-Kali. When they wanted me to moderate this panel, I said, look, you wrote youth as leaders. If the television people see me with gray hair, I say, what youth as leaders? So I insisted and I said, somebody who is along their age should be the one to moderate. And I'm calling back Ayo, our own convener today, who is responsible for delivering project management support. He was part of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020. You know, that one has made it possible now to register your businesses in a very, very short way. And he did a lot of work on the Lagos State e-planning permit and the Kano State Internal Revenue Service e-payment platform. In 2022, he was program manager for the delivery of technical assistance to the 36 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory. Welcome, Ayo, and he's going to moderate this panel. You have 30 minutes or less to do this. Ask them all the questions, and we will look forward to their answers. Ayo.
Oh boy. So you guys, please, can you please give us a big, big round of applause? I need the energy. Come on. Right. So I'm going to start here. The decision was just taken, as Dr. Bala Mohammed said, just a few minutes. So I'm still trying to catch my breath. So the easiest thing to do is to start with someone that we were in the trenches with at some point. So I'm going to start with my brother, Khalil. Yeah. So I met Khalil a few years ago while we were working on the Ease of Doing Business project. At that time, he rose, I think at 29 or 28, he became Managing Director of Cardinal Investment Promotion Agency. So I'm going to start with you. You got into government early. What was it like for you? Was it something you stumbled upon? And if it was something you stumbled upon, how did you make the best of that opportunity? I should say, how are you making the best of that opportunity?
Thank you very much, Ayo. First of all, congratulations on this event. It's very much needed. Every time we're in the system, we would love to keep seeing more youths, especially when they try to hold us accountable, to be able to understand how policy is crafted, shaped, and actually implemented. So congratulations to you and all the team members as well. So how did I stumble upon government? I finished university. I was privileged enough to know someone in government, Hafiz Bayero, whom I reached out to, and I said, okay, all of you guys, the uncles, the aunties that promised us jobs, who have not seen anything, they have not called us back, so what are we going to do? And he said, forget them, just come to a place called Kaduna Investment Promotion Agency, to which I did. He was impressed by my results, so the first thing I had to do was to differentiate myself by having a first-class degree and graduating top of my class. I came in, and when I came into Kadipa, I realized almost this RFI administration is just like university again. So there was no need to do PhD or master's after that. We have all been grilled in the trenches. So the plan was for me to do my NYSC and then I head over to investment banking so that I can become rich like my friends. Sadly, for me, I was going to become very poor but have more power than them. So that's what happened. I'll go to Lagos, I'll sit down, I hear my colleagues debating on their salary being 8 million naira, but they're even deceiving us and cheating us. It's 5 million, it's 10 million. And I'm looking at my salary, 30,000 naira, and I'm like, okay. But little did I know that God had bigger plans for me. So we stayed the course, we worked very hard. Eventually in about 3 years, I was elevated to becoming the executive secretary of the entire institution. It was very tasking. My boss was RFI, my vice chairman was, His Royal Highness, the King of Kano, SLS, which most of you know about, former CBN governor, and I don't even know how to explain it. I ran, I think, the youngest agency in Nigeria at that point. So the first thing I had to do was to ensure when we're doing the employment of my agency, I needed like minds everywhere. We shattered the civil service records. I became a director, I think at 28 as well, grade level 15. And it was just a lot of, rockers across the country who take RFI to court. What's this small boy doing here? And so on. But alhamdulillah, that was when we were in the trenches with you, Ayo, doing ease of doing business. And that was tasking for you to go to ministries, tell them to automate their processes and procedures, put it online, make everything smooth and seamless. It was just an amazing and insane times during our Kaduna days. So that's what we had to do to give back. Make sure more youths came in. The ladder you were talking about, we made sure the ladder was refurbished, ensured that if you added value, even if you messaged me on LinkedIn, we got you a job immediately and so on and so forth. So we've done a lot, honestly. And now I'm in we did that in Kaduna, and now I'm in a different state again, serving from the state that I'm actually from. I was born in Kaduna, but I'm from Katsina State, Bakori. And, we're trying to replicate the same achievements we have had in Kaduna and see what we can do for the whole of the North and entire Nigeria.
Thank you very much. Let's go. Dr. Jamila, you're an academia. That's home to me. My late father was a professor. So I feel again like I'm at home. I just want to ask, there's this theme that most Nigerians think politics and policy is not for intellectuals. Do you think it's wrong? And if it is wrong, what value can we expect that those with the intellectual, with the enough gray matter, so to speak, can bring to public administration?
Okay, thank you very much. Once again, I also want to congratulate you for organizing this very important event. I think we need this kind of platform for youth to feel the need to also participate. I believe when we do a lot of this, it is not only welcoming, it also paves way for people to understand what they need to do to put in place for the betterment of our country. As you put, intellectual politics, are they even different? Because for me, I think wherever you are, whatever you do, in one way or the other, you are involved in the governance, whether at an institution like a Citadel of Learning. I started at Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, as a lecturer, and I think even as a graduate assistant, I never find myself or see myself as someone that will just remain in class, teach, and not also go back to the society and understand what's really happening. And this is what is happening. I think this is the perception we have of the intellectuals. The intellectuals understand the actual happenings in our society, without which, if they don't understand, they cannot x-ray, and you won't have people understanding the society at large. The people that we have today made a presentation, the different teams. I want to believe they are better equipped because they have been into one university or the other. You see, we even acknowledge them using their universities. So if their lecturers do not understand the rationale behind having policy and doing it the right way, ensuring that the young generation, the youth, also understand it from their own perspective, participate in the crafting of those policies, we won't be here today. So at a younger age of my career, a very young age, as a graduate assistant, I was also involving myself in a lot of things that do relate with governance, doing civil society organization. And I think I added more value than a lot of the people on my team as a civil society member because of that intellect, because of that scholarship. So I was not going there to listen to people and then just go back and relate what happened. I also digest, and then from my own theory perspective, I apply that knowledge and take that knowledge back to the classroom. So you see my student also learning from my own experience. I think it paved way for me because while people were doing research around, for instance, I am from a communication background, doing a lot of research in terms of framing of media, I was doing governance issues. I was asking about policies. I was looking at developmental issues, how the policies, the programs, the initiatives our government are actually dashing out do impact on the people. And so I was being involved in development space. I did a lot of work. Fortunately, I was in Kaduna, and I know a lot of work that you do. Around that time, a lot of people were so passionate about the things that we do. As a young female intellectual, how do you even balance it? But it's because of the passion that I had. I continued without even feeling like I was doing a lot. Fortunately, I was also identified with. So going into public service proper as a commissioner, imagine starting from a background of university, as an academic, going into development space, and then finding yourself in the public service. Our DG here actually means the word when he said, you go in there and you see a lot of things. You actually see a lot of things there happening. I think even our keynote speaker mentioned things like people not having the knowledge of how to craft policies. So how do we even expect that they do that and implement it? So I was in that environment with a mix of knowledge from the academic background, development space, and then from the civil society organization that I mentioned. I think it added more value. I was able to work with my team. I was able to collaborate. I was able to bring in new ideas, new initiatives. And so within a very short period of time, we were able to actually record a lot of achievements. And I'm so happy to say that we actually started when it was a disaster for Bauchi State. We were one of the states, or the leading state with out-of-school children. Infrastructure was something else. Almost every morning I wake up to pictures of dilapidated schools on our social media handles. But alhamdulillah, before we left that angle, we were able to implement a lot of projects, including also bringing in more funding opportunities for the state, also supporting the government in doing projects for that state. So I would say it adds value. It is not different from you having intellectual or coming from academia, but I think it adds more weight, more experience, more capacity for you are able to actually navigate easily. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I particularly like the way you started. You said politics, academia, are they actually two different things? And I think that is a very, very, I mean, we can spend days slicing that statement, right? Personally, that's why I don't like the term technocrat in government, because I just think permits me, I'm a national TV, there's a word that starts with B, that is in my, because it's almost like, there's some arrogance in it, and I think that's where people with the intellectual, power tend to struggle in government, because it's almost like there's a bifurcation between those who know and you dregs of office who just found yourself in there. And I think so understanding that they are one and the same thing. And before I take the last question, in the UK is a good example for me. Prime Minister is a politician, Oxford educated, PPE, there's no difference. Why do we honestly think that we should, anyways, I'm not the panelist. So Johannes, media. This is a media event. There are many more millions that are listening to us beyond those of us in this room. But I struggled projecting myself. The Honorable Minister, who used to be my boss, says, what's wrong with you? So I struggled. And I think those in government tend to struggle because the younger ones, how do we use media as a tool to make this job, this thing, this grinding we do in public, so how do we make it, glamorous and reach through the blockade that, just exists on their mind?
Thank you. I'll follow the trend of all the speakers and congratulate you. Wonderful event so far, and I'll also congratulate everyone here. This is one of the first events that I think I've attended, and I don't have phones raised or phones or people chatting, just about 7 of them, and a couple of others there. But very fantastic audience, and it's really pleasing to be here. Now to your question, media and exposure and public service. I think we're coming from 2 generations. The much older generation has always seen the media as something that needed to be controlled. Historically, and my elder brother, Bashir Hassan from Business Day, will know this very well. Newspapers, or the news as it was, is something that you receive the next morning. Dr. Bala Mohammed will know this as well, that news was 4 p.m. So that means what you were going to be told, what you were going to know about the world around you was framed for certain periods of time. You get it at 4 p.m., and those who are privileged to read the newspapers wake up in the morning to purchase the newspapers. But the media today, as we know it, has been democratized. If I say nonsense here, somebody is going to tweet it. And if I'm not lucky, I may be lynched outside before I leave. So it means that there are no barriers. Whatever you do within the public service space is open to public scrutiny. It's open to public commentary. It's open to people's views. Let me digress a very tiny bit. If we were probably in, say, not that I was that old then, but let's say in 2000, the president had just maybe arrived at an event, made an outlandish comment. All he needed to do was to have his media advisor say, this is not going out there, or this is what you heard. So tomorrow morning, you don't know what the president said, but you know what his aides have told you he said. That is how it used to be. But today that has changed, and I'm back on my track. Whatever you say as a public official, you'll be held to account. Whatever you do as a public official will be held to account. Now, what does that mean for you as a public officer? It means that you must be able to tell your own story. Unfortunately, like you have said, a lot of public officials are doing so well. Khalil, I've followed Khalil, I think, and he's very good with the social media. He's on social media. He's been able to project what he has done. He's told his own story. He's also inspired others, because one of the things, and given the community we have here, one of the things that I think it's very important for young people are role models. I need somebody in Ebonyi State or in Kano State to sit down in a room having no access to any direct access to any top official, to be able to know what a young Khalil who is 33 is doing somewhere in Katsina, and be able to say, that's what I want to be like. So aside telling your story, it puts you in check. You're able to know that whatever you do, you don't just have maybe for someone who is religious, a God to answer to, but you also have a people to answer to, and that is democracy by itself. And if you even look at the history or what underpins the media, is the freedom of expression, and the freedom of expression by itself is guaranteed because we're in a democratic setting. So, by that accountability, a person in public office understands that I have to communicate, I have to tell my story, I have to be able to give feedback to the people who have put me in this office. How am I doing? What am I doing? And where am I in terms of delivering on the objectives that have set for me?
Thank you very much. We have run out of time, but I wouldn't have you leave without just dropping gems, as James will say. So just for 1 minute, Dr. Jamila, there are a lot of young people in this room. There are a lot of young people listening to us. What would you tell them? What would you want them to leave with?
Oh, wow. I have a lot to say, but I would say in very few words. Please, for you to be valued, to be relevant, you need to prepare yourself, you need to show off, you need to also improve yourself. You need to understand yourself. In understanding yourself, you know what value you can add, and it is only when you have a value to add that you become relevant and you're respected. A lot of us are here because we have seen the need for us to improve on ourselves, learn a skill, go to school, because there are a lot of debate around, okay, skills better than books or other than books, stuff like that. Even if you learn 1-2 skills, please go to school. Be relevant, be prepared, because it is only when you are prepared that you meet the success. There is a very popular saying that success is when opportunity meets the prepared. So be prepared so that when the opportunity knocks at your door, you are ready for it, and then you become successful.
Thank you very much. Janice, please. Simple question for you, please.
Okay. Okay, I think good. One, like she said, be prepared. 2, take every opportunity that comes your way. Don't feel that this may be too big for me, or this is something that I don't deserve. And in relation to that, always have a God feeling that you deserve to be where you are. If you're in a room with governors, have that feeling that I am supposed to be here and I have something worth offering. Thank you.
So Khalil, I'll ask you a little different question. Was there any time you felt like just leaving? And if there were moments like that, how did you, what gave you the staying power? 1 minute, please.
Even right now, I feel like leaving. That's what public service does to you. You know, you say I'm the youngest, this and that, but I have like 3 white hairs now in my head. Yeah, because you're compounded or confronted with problems daily. You're challenging your fathers in every single meeting. You have to put it across respectfully. You have to be able to add value to every single policy prescription, every single implementation plan, and so on and so forth. And for me, since when I came in, it's like what they've all said, you need to learn how to add value. There's this issue of experience. Experience is not every single thing. Sometimes some of the most brilliant things or the first things ever done in history were done by those who are doing it for the first time ever. And it was the same reason why we're able to do so in Kaduna State and doing the same in Katsina State, okay? We understood the history and the context of where God has put us, right? I understand that, look, going forward in history, we need to do things in a different way. That is why we're appointed and we're brought here. And the best way to predict the future is to build the future, right? And for you to understand that you should not limit your challenges, but continue to always challenge your limits. Those are the things.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Just stand here, please and please. Okay, can you snap pictures of them? This panel has done a great job. The moderator has done wonderfully. God bless you, young people. May you live as long as us. And please give them a standing ovation, please. Please give them, please go ahead. Please give them a standing ovation. And we hope that this discussion will continue on the social media somewhere so that this goes ahead. And thank you very much. Don't go too far, Ayo. Don't go too far, Ayo, because I will call you now. The challenge is all these three, and the moderator, just stay here. The moderator have said is that 25 years ago, I left the BBC in London to come and work in Nigeria. The presidency employed me as a press secretary to the vice president. And when I came, one of the first challenges was that a press release will take about 5 drafts, and it will be corrected and edited with red pen before it was finalized. When I came with a laptop from London directly, and I started typing the press release and issuing it in 10 minutes, the typist said, "This man has come to take our jobs." This is a tragedy, and this is something we all have to face in making changes. Another round of applause for Ayo. Ayo, thank you very much. He has a few minutes now to give us the founder's address before we hear the results and the award ceremony. Ayo.
Thank you, sir. Wow. Hi. Yes. I like my hands to be free. There's so much to say, but so little time. I want to take a moment first, thank and remember my father, my late father. He passed on last year, Professor Stephen Olushola Ojeni. I think one thing that stood out about my father was that he gave us the freedom to just express yourself, to just be wherever you want to be. There were moments that were testing. There was a time that they couldn't find me for 3 months. I just left home. But he received me with open arms. And anyways, let's just get into it. So I stand here fully aware of the weight of this moment. This is not going to be a typical address, not a fireside talk, and certainly not a campaign speech. This is a straight talk, a talk between citizens, a straight talk to my country, Nigeria. I stand there convinced that nothing is impossible. Yes, nothing is impossible, not even Nigeria's development. You see, the mistake we often make is that we think the countries that we admire started off as first world countries, what young people may call Nepo countries. Right, but they didn't. Even the United States of America, the wealthiest nation on the surface of the earth, experienced civil war 85 years after independence. How old is Nigeria again? 64. You get the gist. So what separates countries that make it from those who don't often comes down to a few things. And I'll touch on mindset and choices. It was former US President Jimmy Carter that said the difference between an American and the other kind of person is that American lives in anticipation of the future because he knows it will be a great place. Other people fear the future as a repetition of their past mistakes. So there are past mistakes in Nigeria. We've done many things wrong. But the question I want to ask is, why do we let our past failures constrain, hold us back from imagining a new Nigeria? I should ask you, how many of you here believe in Nigeria's future? And I use the word believe because we are a country of believers. African Polling Institute says 41% of Nigerians don't think Nigeria's future will be any better than it is today. But that's an irony, given that we're a country of believers. Pew Research Center ranks Nigeria among the top 5 most religious countries in the world. You see that graph? The countries in blue, it's between 1 and 100%. Nigeria is a 90-something percentile. So we believe in God, but we believe and have faith in God, but we don't have faith and believe in what he has given unto us, our country. How can you receive what you don't believe in? How do you get what you don't expect? So we all carry a moral, a personal duty to make Nigeria great. That responsibility cannot be left to only those in government alone. We are a people with a government, not a government with a people. So I'll speak to the youth, but before that I want to speak for the youth. Disclaimer, I'm not by any means a spokesman for the Nigerian youth. I left the youth bracket 5 years ago. Yes. But, I'm here as a stakeholder, as a shareholder that has as many shares as anyone in Nigeria could possibly have. I care about the youth because I care about Nigeria. There is no future without the youth. So to our leaders, we fail our youth when our schools are shut, when job goes to the connected over the qualified, when outdated rules choke the creativity and zestfulness of the youth, and when peaceful dissent is not respected. As leaders, we must give young Nigerians a reason to hope. They say there's an American dream. Can there be a Nigerian dream? One where any young person can rise as far as their hard work takes them. It's time we restored hope. Personally, that's why I pray for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, hoping that the renewed old mantra will live beyond the pages of the book and become a living reality in our hearts and minds. To the youth, I know many of you dream of public service. I know because I've met some of you, most recently through the platform Public Service Bootcamp. You have questions. You wonder whether there was ever going to be an opportunity for you. Relax, I got you. And I want to tell you a story, my personal story. In September 2016, I had an idea for a public complaint app. It was just a random thing. And I spoke to a friend of mine, a young friend of mine, Kayode Shobalaji, and I said, see, this is the idea that I have. Can we do something about it? So we called it, this was me searching my email box, just trying to find the couple of emails we shared. This was February 4, 2017. We named it Combox. And we started working on it, not knowing anyone in government or how this idea is ever going to see that. Welcome to Combox, Nigeria Online Complaint System. I was somewhere in Lagos, but I didn't know anybody, but we kept at it. Fast forward to May the 1st, 2017. Then Vice President Yemi Osinbajo was speaking at the platform. 39 minutes into his speech, he touched on something. And I'll please ask the media guys to help me out.
The Public Secretariat is holding a hackathon bringing together computer programmers and other technology developers to develop an M&E solution, that's a monitoring and evaluation solution, for tracking reforms and getting public feedback.
Thank you. For those of you who were earlier on, you heard me say that I got into public service because of this hackathon. And it was very instructive that somewhere in another city, another state, someone had put in the vice president's speech what I was working on in the tiny corner of my room. And so when I heard the speech, it was surreal. I couldn't believe it. Then, to cut the long story short, I applied, my team got selected, and guess what? We won. That's the picture there. This was me 8 years ago, and this is the Honorable Minister at that competition. So when people ask me, I mean, Team Dog, I think, I think you guys are 3 or 4, one of them couldn't make it, because what we did was we flew them into Abuja, accommodated them, and here they are today. One of the parents just said, I can't risk having my child come. Because the people couldn't just understand what's in need for you. Why are you doing it? They couldn't just wrap their head around it. But I'm grateful that I had the opportunity, and because I had that opportunity, it wasn't a remote idea for me to replicate it, because I knew that if I didn't have this opportunity, I probably wouldn't be here today. By the way, the app, an improved version of the app, was just launched a few days ago by the PEBEC. And that's also gratifying because I left that role 19 months ago. But it's interesting that the idea that started just in the corner of my room is still living, and there are other people who are making it better. You can access that app via www.reportgov.ng. PEBEC didn't pay for the advert, but I'm glad to do this. So the lesson, opportunities rarely fall on your laps. You must reach for them and prepare while waiting in the shadows. Waiting is not a passive word. It is being active, only that you are the backstage. And when opportunity beckons, make the best use of that time. Invest in yourself. Learn as much as possible. Invest in yourself. Success is impacting the world with the investments you've made in your personality. There's a book I love so much, Thinking in Systems, written by Donald Meadows. And I'll take a few lessons as a wrap-up. When you get the opportunity, you've got to dance with the system. And dancing with the system is to discover the properties of the system and how your skills, how your values can combine with the inherent properties of the system and make it strong. Some will question your motives, ignore the noise. Some will assume you have lost your soul, leave them alone. It's time, ladies and gentlemen, it's time that we forget. Oh, English language. It's time we forgot the things that are behind, whether they worked or whether they didn't work. Do not remember the former things, nor consider the things of old. I can see the new, and it will surely spring forth. I see a prosperous Nigeria. Glorious things are being spoken of you, Nigeria. I see a greater country. I feel it in my bones, every fiber of my being, and every cell of my body. From the Mr. Hills, before I take this final paragraph, I've traveled wide and far in Nigeria, 32 states. I have 4 more to go. So I'm touching on the 36 states. So from the misty hills of Mambila in Tariba to the shorelines of Lagos, from the oil-rich islands of the Niger Delta to the oil-laden creeks of rivers, from the bustling markets of Kano to the coal seams of Enugu, from the great railway hub of Kaduna to the royal boroughs of Edo, from the gold-laced lands in Zamfara to the rainforest depth of Cross River, from the rice paddies of Kebbi to the orange orchards of Imo, from the cocoa groves of Ondo to the palm-fringed coast of Akwa Ibom, from the historic monuments in Oyo to the Sahel sun of Jigawa, the savannas of Yobe, the fishing harbors of Ibayosa, the sacred grove of Oshun to the limestone caves of Abia, from West Africa's largest market in Anambra to the castle strays of Adamawa, from the Sahel winds of Sokoto to the fertile valleys of Ebonyi, from the hydroelectric dams in Niger to the knowledge factories of Ekiti, from the clay-rich plains of Katsina to the sacred stones of Kwara's museums, from the sunrise of a Delta Streak to the sunset of the salt lakes of Nasarawa, from the building gateways of Ogun to the green peaks of Gombe, from the confluence waters of Kogi to the double drums of Bauchi, from the yam bands of Benue to the unbroken courage of Bono. From the Federal Capital Territory, where all paths converge, let it be said, let it be known. Shout it on the rooftops and the mountaintops, that's a new dawn and a new day for Nigeria. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Thank you. Please, can we celebrate the founder, convener? Amazing. So I think that you would agree with me that if Ayokunu wanted to explore the part of poetry, he should go and do so very quickly. Amazing. Can we give him another round of applause, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you so much, Mr. Ayokunu Ojeniyi. Ladies and gentlemen, it's now time for the award presentation. Are you ready? I'm so excited to find out who the winner is. I'm really, really, really excited. But as we said ahead of time, as Ambassador Dakpo said, Nigeria is the winner. We are all winners at the end of the day. And so to lead this segment, I'd like to invite Mr. Ariola to please come on stage. Mr. Ariola, please could you quickly come on stage? ED, can we celebrate him? All right, he's going to be announcing the winners, and then we're going to invite the presenters. Mr. Ariola. Thank you. So they're bringing up the dummy checks because they're not only getting a round of applause, they're getting some money in their pockets and as well as opportunities for them. All right, so you'll be announcing the winners, and then to present the award for the second runner-up and the first runner-up, I'd like to invite Ambassador Dakpo Oyewole. Please, can we give him a round of applause? He also doubles, apart from being the keynote speaker today, he was the chief judge. And I want us to celebrate all the judges, whether they are here in person or they are connecting online, for such important work. All right.
Thank you very much. Okay, please, let's be careful with that. So, over the past 4 months, we've had the privilege to engage 160 teams, not student teams, at least 2 in a team. And we've had to read through numerous proposals. I saw a lot of reform around the National Youth Service Corps, the Federal Commission character. And Dr. Dakpo also bears witness to the fact that we had to engage a lot with the semi-finalists down to the finals. And it's been an interesting journey so far. And this night, we would like to appreciate the top 3 teams who have made it so far. Come put us together for them. So, very quickly, I'd like to announce the 3rd position. And okay. So, for the 3rd position, that would go to team. Yes. So we would have, we have 2 teams from University of Lagos. And so to the 3rd position is also a team from University of Lagos. And that would be Team Dodge. Please come up on stage. Come up on stage. Okay, so, yeah, let's do that. Okay, so very quickly, we're moving to the 2nd position. Ladies and gentlemen, can we put hands together for Team Trailblazers from University of Lagos. Very quickly, very quickly, very quickly, very quickly. So fun fact, for the 4 of them, they are all law students from University of Lagos. Ladies and gentlemen, now to the final. I'd like us to be on our feet as we put our hands together for Team 1 from Adeleke University. Khalil, can you please join us on stage? Omawumi, yes please, thank you so much.
Congratulations, congratulations. Adeleke University. I hear somebody shouting, my school, my school. For today, I adopt you. So my school, my school. Adeleke University of Ibadan. Congratulations, 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 congratulations. Congratulations.
I was built to be the best, number one and nothing less. Lead me to my destiny. I have waited patiently. I have vision, oh I believe. I know I can count on me. So stand up for the champions, for the champions. Stand up, stand up, stand up for the champions.
Thank you.
For the champions.
You know,
Stand
congratulations, Team 1. You know, Mr. Bala just whispered something to me, and I think that this name was truly prophetic. Their name is Team 1, and they emerged as number 1. Once again, congratulations, Team 1. So you can see the check, and you know, at times like this, I wish I had entered, at times like this, but it's for undergraduates. Congratulations to the winners. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll have a quick photo session. We'll have a quick photo session afterwards, but we cannot close without hearing the vote of thanks by Mr. Ariola Ado Daniel. Please, can we give a round of applause, ED, FPDI.
Okay, my vote of thanks is very simple and short. Thank you everyone for coming tonight. All protocols duly observed. I'd like to especially appreciate the Honorable Minister, Dr. Jumoke Oduwale, for our work in driving reforms and innovation at the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment. That has been a beacon of hope for many young people. Also, I'd like to appreciate the person of Ambassador Dapo Oyewale. Thank you so much, sir, for choosing to serve as the Chief Judge for the Policy Challenge 2025 and for being our keynote speaker. Thank you very, very much. I would also like to thank the panelists in person of Mr. Khalil Noho Khalil. We've had an amazing run so far. I would also like to appreciate Johannes Oluwatobi Esquire. I would also like to thank Dr. Jamila Dahiru, my most sincerest appreciation for coming around tonight. Now, I would not fail to also recognize our judges who could not make it here. So Miss Elizabeth Abubakar. I know Omawumi is around. Miss Omawumi Ogunrotimi, thank you so much for doing this with us. And to our friends in the private sector, thank you for coming around. To our friends in the academia and policy space, you remind us that governance reform is not just the work of government alone. It is a shared responsibility between every one of us. And to all our friends present here today, from Leap Africa to Legislative Mentorship Initiative, Emerging Communities Budget, Civic Hive, Mogote Foundation, Amandla Institute Policy Vote, OGP Nigeria, CDD, African Polling, we're extremely grateful. And to our partner and sponsor, Reversal Business Service, thank you so much for ensuring that this comes to fruition. I'd like to call up, I'd like for him to do this next.
Thank you. Before I just volunteers, those who worked, the first time I was at this venue was yesterday. And today I came and just a few hours to the event, and everything just ran smoothly. So please, if you volunteered for this event, I just want you to please come up. We'd like to thank you. As we wait for you, I also want to specially thank my family. Of course, I wouldn't have been born if not that I had a family. I would not have been raised to this point if not for my family. And I realized that I didn't do much of that when I started with my speech. So as they say, you save the best for the last. So I'm saving that for my family. Thank you, family. I now want, the volunteers are somewhere volunteering outside. But Felicia, I shouldn't mention names. But all of you, I want to specially thank you. You've made it possible, you've made it clear that young people can take on the reins of leadership, and I cannot be more grateful. My heart is just there. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like us all to be on our feet in 10 seconds. Today is the 12th of August, and it doubles as the International Youth Day. Tomorrow is the 13th of August, and Mr. Ayo Ojeniyi is going to be 40 tomorrow. He has chosen to do this for young people across Nigeria, and I would like us to shout a happy birthday to him in advance. Happy birthday, sir. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening.
All right, just before you sit, ladies and gentlemen, like Olivia Twist, that just crave your indulgence, can we please bring out our mobile devices? The youth have the energy, and those who are coming to our side, and those who are joining us as youth for the day. Can we bring out our mobile devices? Thank you. I can see the phones are still coming out. Please bring out your phone. Don't worry, we're not doing a phone competition here. We're not saying which one is the 16 Pro Max and which one is the Samsung S something. Don't worry, we're not looking at that. Just bring it out. All right, we want you to please turn your phones on and turn on the camera. Can you please turn on your camera? Please, could you bring mine? I just want to also do the same thing. One of the things they've taught us is to lead by example. So, yes, to get my own phone here. Can you turn on the camera? Put it on selfie mode. Is it on selfie mode? Can you see that it's not a phone competition? Now, I want you to please turn on your camera. Is it on? Is it on selfie mode? So I want you to go as far from your face as possible so that you can create such a large selfie. As many people as you can capture in your picture. First of all, starting with yourself. If you want to do a video, this is a good time to do the video. Are we doing that? All right, we should do one from the top. Okay, I'm going to disturb the convener a bit and ask you to please come forward, sir. We want you to, he is the one who has brought us together. So right at the center, his selfie is going to be the widest angle, like from the middle here. All right? Selfie mode. Are we good to go? All right, when you have a youth event, you should expect a bit of selfie. All right, so together, is it on camera? Is it on video? All right, we're going to say Policy Challenge 2025. Are you ready? Policy Challenge. Let's do a test run. Policy Challenge. Okay, we're getting there. Another test run. Policy Challenge. Amazing. So we're going to say it together, and we're going to capture as many people as possible. Policy Challenge. Policy Challenge. All right. Now, thank you. Please take a picture also. No, but that's not the end. Just as quickly, you want to, strike when it is hottest. As quickly as you've taken this, I want you to put it on social media. You can put it on LinkedIn. That's easy, right? Put it on Instagram. Put it on X. And I want you to reference the event that we've had here. Don't forget to use the hashtag Policy Challenge 2025 and the hashtag TPC 2025. Please tag us. We are happy to interact. Now, before you go, please don't forget to say hello to somebody, give someone a high five, and say Happy Youth Day. It's been such an honor. All right, would like to take a very quick photograph, please, before you go. Very quick photograph. And Mr. Ayokunu, Another photograph. Olivia Twist is asking, please don't be in a hurry to leave. Our guests, don't be in a hurry to leave. Quick photograph. We want everyone to come on stage. Could you please come on stage for everyone? Can you come on stage?